Bruh, I lost my mojo. You guys probably don't give a shit, but whatever.
Dear Jasmine.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to those of you guys that are new to following me or have just randomly stumbled across your girl's video. Today, as you can see by the title, I'm going to talk about kind of like where I've been, and clearly by the title you know where I've been, pregnant. I just want to talk about like my pregnancy, my labor and delivery, and kind of like where I'm at now that I have those children, two. Not one but two. Like, your girl got two kids. Why? For what? I'm gonna start off this video by saying, if you hear any foolishness in the background, that's my son, Ayden. He is watching YouTube as well. Hopefully I'm over talking his video so that I don't get copyrighted, you know what I'm saying? If you don't know anything about me, I have a 4-year-old. His name is Ayden. I didn't really talk about like my labor and delivery with him because like I wasn't never on YouTube, but I did talk about, like, I have videos of me like trying to balance being a mom, dealing with like anxiety and depression, working full-time, starting my business, things like that. Now that I got two kids, I kind of want to touch more on like how I balance the two of them. But I just now had a baby. Her name's Avery, and she is currently 2 months old. Oh yeah, so I will post pictures of her either over here or over here. I don't know, whatever. I'll post pictures of her. But where do I start? Okay, so how I found out I was pregnant. First of all, it's crazy. So I was recording Ayden being foolish like he always is, and I have a video of him telling me that I have a baby in my belly. Meanwhile, I didn't even know I was pregnant, but I was pregnant. And so he's just like, "Mommy, you have a baby in your belly," and this being Ayden, right? And I was getting so annoyed, and I'm just like, "Ayden, please, like, please." What?
A baby's in your stomach.
Oh, there's no baby in my stomach, Ayden.
I with you. And it's a baby in your big tummy.
There's what?
A bit. See, my tummy is bigger like yours, but your tummy had a baby in it.
Ayden, please. Like 2 weeks after that video, something wasn't feeling right with my body, and I was like, you know what, let me just go take a test, like whatever, let me just take it. So I went to CVS, grabbed a couple of pregnancy tests, like the ones with the duo, like it comes with two. I grabbed 2 of those or whatever, so I had 4 pregnancy tests. And if you don't know, I have anxiety, so leading up to like driving up to CVS and stuff, like I was anxious as hell. I made my sister come with me. I made her go in the store. Like, you would think I'm not even grown. Like, I was legit like a little kid. Hot mess. So yeah, so we went to CVS. I came back home, took the test, and the first test, so one of them is like the plus and minus things or whatever, and then the second one in the box says pregnant or not pregnant. And so of course the first one I took was the plus minus one, and I'm dumb as hell. I didn't know how to fucking read the test. So I'm reading the instructions, and I was like it said, obviously it said I was pregnant, and I was like, nah, let me just take the pregnant not pregnant one, because the digital one, because I know how to read, you know what I'm saying? So I took it, that shit, math fast, pregnant. I was like, yeah, these are malfunction. Let me go get the other box. And I took the one that said, the digital one again out of that box. And then, again, pregnant. When I tell you, I stayed in my bathroom for like 30 to 40 minutes, sitting on the bathroom floor, like just contemplating my life. I was like, what the hell I'm gonna do with another kid? Like, make it make sense. So I just remember it, this was a long time ago, child, but I would just remember in that moment, one of my friends, her name's Sierra, she called me or she texted me something funny. I think it was she was texting me. I don't fucking know. What I text was a picture of the three, because I took three, was a picture of the three pregnancy tests that said positive, and I sent them to her. And her response back was like, oh Lord. And then she knows me so well. She knows, like, bitch, what am I do? So she texts back, oh Lord. And that made me cry because I was like, right, like, thank you. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Like, condoms? Hello? So, whatever. Then my mom called just because she calls me. And I got so anxious. I'm like, this fucking lady knows. Like, she knows. You know, moms know everything. Paranoid as hell. Meanwhile, I'm 28 years old, y'all. I'm 28 years old. I already have a 4-year-old. Like, girl, what the hell you scared of? You would think I was like 15 or 16 trying to hide my first pregnancy ever. So my mom calls me. I decline the call and I text her back and I was like, I already know. I don't know what I'm doing, but this is just what it is. And she's like, bitch, what? Like, what are you talking about? Then she responded, no, she called me back. And I'm like, hello? Like, did you not get my text? Like, I can't talk right now. So she texts me. She's like, hello, answer the phone. And I was like, I'm too distraught. I was like, I'm too distraught. Like, girl, no. Like, I'm here thinking about what bridge to jump off of. So you gotta think, at this point, I had just quit my job. I was unemployed. I was starting a business or like getting my feet wet into like the entrepreneurship, like just seeing where things go or whatever. I was already depressed. Like I said, I already deal with depression and anxiety. So just getting the results, like I was just like, this isn't the right time. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I still live at home. Like, what? Like, I'm like, I don't, like, granted, like, their dad is in the picture. Like, he's always in the picture. And he's not, like, an absent dad at all. But in my mind, I'm like, girl, you, like I said, like, you're unemployed. You don't have your own home. Like, you don't own your own home. You don't, like, you really don't have nothing substantial. And you're bringing another kid into this world. Like, that's what I was thinking. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt so hopeless and, like, just really sad, really depressed in that 30 to 40 minutes that I was sitting on the floor. Like, what the heck, yo? Obviously, I kept her because, like, that was an option. You know, like, abortion was an option. But I'm like, no, like, you're too fucking old to be doing that shit. Like, you know, like, that's just how I felt. Like, I'm like, hold on, because your girl's sweating. Like, you're not 16, 15, going to the fucking clinic trying to hide the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we're grown over here. Like, you decided to be grown. You need to face your consequences. That's just how I felt. A week or so before that, like I said, I was so depressed, and it was mainly because, like, I had to start working, and I don't, like I said, I just quit my job. I hated work. I love the people that I worked with. I just hated working for someone else. Like, I have that mentality. First of all, I get bored. Second of all, like, I just don't like being told what to do. Even though I was a manager at the job, there was still someone above me. And I don't like having to be told what to do. Like I said, I just don't like, I just don't like working for someone else. So the fact that I had to, like, start applying for jobs again, like I said, like, just made me so depressed. And then this was just bad timing. That's truly how I felt. So I took the test, got the results. I text Sierra and I text my mom. They're the only ones at this point that knew about my pregnancy. I get out the bathroom. I'm in my bed and I'm like, what the fuck? At this point, I still haven't even told, like, the father of my kids. I haven't even told him. He was at work. I was like, I don't got time for his foolishness. Like, I just, no. So I'm laying in bed. I get a phone call. It's a job that I had interviewed for like a week before. And so she offered me the position or whatever. And then obviously I accepted because I'm like, girl, you about to have another kid. Like, you better not say no. After like negotiating like my price and stuff, not my price, whatever the heck, the pay range or the salary, whatever the heck, my pay. After negotiating that or whatever, she couldn't meet what I wanted, and so she's like, we can meet here. And so normally one mom me would have been like the one child me would have been like, sorry, no. But now, like, damn, you're about to have another kid. Like, bitch, just take the job for now. So, because, like, it's a pandemic and nobody's really hiring like that. So, whatever. I accept it. And then I started crying. Like, after I got off the phone with her, I started crying because I'm like, first of all, look at me settling. Like, this is all, like, this is not the way that my life should be. Like, I should not be settling for no job that's, like, a little bit more than minimum wage. Like, what? No, you was just getting paid X amount of dollars and now you're about to go way down. Like, it wasn't that much of a difference, but it was still like, it's a difference. Like, girl, you worked your way up. Like, for you to go back, like, we did this job in high school. And so the job I work for now, I'm just a receptionist in a hospital, well, in a clinic or whatever. And I did that fresh out of high school. Like, I was making good money fresh out of high school, like being like 18, 19 and making like 15, 16 bucks, like, you know what I mean? And where everyone else was getting paid like 10, $11, like, because that was back then, you know, that was like over 10 years ago. Now you're back full circle doing a reception job again. Like, girl, what? No. That's just, no shade to I'm a receptionist right now, so no shade to anybody who does what they do, but that's not my passion. So I was annoyed by that, you know what I mean? Like, I was very defeated, and I'm just like, here I am settling. And then from there, like, I had just negative thoughts. I was very unhappy my entire pregnancy. Like, there were moments that like I enjoyed or whatever, but for the most part I was super unhappy. Like, the depression was at an all-time high. I hid my pregnancy until I was about 4 months maybe, or 5 months, until I finally like announced it to everybody. I already knew the gender by this point. Like, I was just ready to have the baby at this point because I was just like so over it my entire pregnancy. I will say though, the 9 months did go by very fast. As much as I was complaining and everyone had to deal with like my mood swings, my attitude and stuff like that, like, looking back, I will say my 9 months went by so fast. But during my pregnancy, like I said, I suffered from major depression. I had these really bad thoughts, like dreams. Like when you're pregnant, you have vivid dreams, and they'll be about like sex, they'll be about just anything, like, and it's like vivid, honey, like you are experiencing it in the moment. But my dreams were all dark. They were all very about death. Like, they were just terrible nightmares, and I couldn't sleep. And yeah, it was just a miserable time for me up until the ending of my second trimester. I was like 4 months, yeah, around like 4 or 5 months, I started to get super itchy. And with Ayden, I had this really bad itchiness. It was on the palms of my hands, the soles of my feet. I got super itchy. Come to find out, I had cholestasis, and I can put the description somewhere over here of what cholestasis is and how it's like affects your pregnancy. But yeah, so with Ayden, I had cholestasis. So I was induced super early for him. This time around, like I said, I had the itchiness again, and I'm like, what the heck? So I started reading about it again. One of the articles that I read said, if you had cholestasis one time in your pregnancy, you're bound to get it every other time. Not all the time, but there are high chances of you getting it again. I already knew at that point. I was like, dang, I have cholestasis. My pregnancy is about to go from bad to worse. And it did. I'm not even kidding you. So cholestasis, like I said, one of the main symptoms is you get super itchy. And this time the itchiness progressed not only from my hands and my feet, but all over my skin. And have you guys seen the movie The Mummy? And in that scene, there's a scene where the beetle crawls into the guy's skin. I think you know what scene I'm talking about. If you don't, pause this, go check the scene out, come right back. Like, that's the feeling that I was getting. Like, that's how intense the itchiness was. Like, it felt like something was inside of my skin crawling, and there was no way to get it to stop unless literally I cut my skin open. There were times, I have like scars all over my legs now, but there were times that I could not stop scratching until I started bleeding. Usually they'll induce you if you're good enough to have the baby, like if the baby's well enough to be out, basically. But because I was only 4 or 5 months at that time, they couldn't induce me. And so now fast forward, I'm 9 months pregnant, and I'm like, listen, I can't take it no more. Like, this is really bad. Like, I can't even, like, I was scratching for hours at one point. Like, it was crazy. So I call my doctor, and she's like, no, like, come in right now. So I left work, literally. I got to work. I started work at 8. I left at like 9. That's how crazy it was. I was like, I can't take it no more. I was crying at work. Like, it was crazy. The doctors that I work for, they were talking to my doctor. It was legit intense. Like, I couldn't stop scratching. It was crazy. So they're like, nope, she needs to come in right away. So I left work. I call my boyfriend, and then we go. And it's crazy. So let me back up real fast. So the entire time that I'm pregnant and I'm at work, I was counting down the days till my due date. Because I'm like, I'm going on maternity leave like 2 weeks before my due date so I can get myself together, make sure my bag's packed, because I wasn't prepared for Ayden. Because like I said, they induced me so early that I didn't have nothing ready. Like, I went to my regular checkup with Ayden, and then they were like, yeah, based on your results, we're getting him out right now. So go home, get your stuff, and then come back because you're having a baby tonight. And I wasn't prepared. So this time around, I was so anxious about that I was like, I had to be prepared every single, like, by like my 3rd month of being pregnant, I done had the crib. I got a swing, I got a bouncy, I got clothes. Like, I was ready. I was so ready for the baby. So now like I said, I was like, I want to be 2 weeks. I want to leave work 2 weeks early so that I can set up everything and whatever. Girl, no. I go to work, like I said, this was June 9th. I go to work, leave literally within like an hour and a half, go to the hospital. I had my baby June 10th. Like, I'm like, what the heck? Like, legit, it was so funny because my doctor comes in and he's like, so what time you think you're having the baby? Let's take some guesses. I'm like, that's so funny. We already did that. He says 4, I say 6. And he's like, in the morning or in the evening? And I'm like, no, like tomorrow evening. I'm gonna be here all day. I got my laptop, I got my iPad. Like, I had everything, girl. He was like, no, you're having a baby in like a couple hours. Like, legit. It was like maybe like 6 in the evening, and because like finally, like, I'm starting to progress or whatever. And he's like, so what time you think at that point I still hadn't had contractions and everything. And he's like, so what time you think you're having the baby? Like I said, this dude saying 4, I'm saying 6. I'm like, yeah, 6 tomorrow afternoon or evening, whatever. And he's like, no, 4 is right. So he's so excited. He's like, word, I guess the right time. And he's like, in the morning. And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, like, you're about to have the baby. We're about to move you to the delivery room. They're about to give you your epidural, and we're about to get it started. And I was freaking out. When I tell you freaking out, because like obviously it's crunch time. Like, it's about to happen. You're about to push out a whole child out your woo-ha. Like, what? So all that, do the epidural, do all that good stuff. First of all, full disclaimer for those of you pregnant during a pandemic, just know that even though if you got vaccinated, you still gotta take a COVID test. For what? Because I got vaccinated for 2 reasons. One, obviously to protect myself and to protect my baby, but also my main reason was so that I didn't have to go through a COVID test. Because I was I was watching YouTube videos, and I was during like people having a baby during a pandemic, And they were all getting the COVID test because they didn't get vaccinated. So I was like, girl, I'm getting vaccinated so they don't have to do that, because I did that 2 times already and it hurts. And psych, I get there and she was like, so we're in the delivery room and she's like, all right, the nurse is going to come do your COVID test before the doctor comes back, and we start prepping everything, and the anesthesiologist comes and gets everything ready for your thing, and for the epidural. And I was like, what? Do what? She was like, yeah, you're going to get a COVID test. And I was like, I got vaccinated. Do you want my card? She's like, no, 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 you still got to get it. I was so salted. So fast forward now, I get the results back from the test. It was negative. And then now the anesthesiologist come in, do the epidural. And once the epidural comes, that's when like shit gets real, okay? So epidural's in, I'm good, feeling good, numb, can't feel shit. So I'm like, word, we about to have a baby. I can't feel nothing. Then all of a sudden I feel some tingling and I'm like, oh no, my legs feel like they falling asleep. Like I'm not supposed to feel nothing. And she was like, you know that feeling like when your leg falls asleep, so you gotta like tap your leg like up and down or whatever. That's what I started feeling, and it was like pins and needles. And I was like, oh no, honey, like I'm pressing a button, the epidural's not working. I'm like, she's like, oh no, this is like a new version or whatever. Like, sis, I didn't ask you to test the new version on me. I want the old shit, the one I had with Ayden, where I don't feel nothing. Like, I want to be numb. Like, I don't want to feel nothing. And she's like, no, they took away that one, like, because of that, because people were just like super numb and couldn't feel their legs, and that's not safe, and blah blah blah, and all this medical jargon that I did not give a shit about. So that made me anxious, that I started to feel everything. Like, obviously when you are in labor, like you're getting close to 9 centimeters, 10 centimeters and stuff, you feel everything. Like, you do feel it. Like, you still feel the contraction. But pushing with Ayden, like, I couldn't feel anything. So that's one of the reasons why I was so anxious, because this time around I was preparing myself, like, all right, you're about to be numb, you're about to be pushing for like 3 hours, the same way you was pushing for Ayden. Like, they're about to give you a mask, they're about to suck the baby out the same way they did for Ayden. You're prepared, you're good, you already know what to expect. No, not what happened. So 4 o'clock hits, here's my doctor putting on his little doctor hat thing with the mask. He's good to go. He's like, all right, you ready? This man is texting in the room or doing whatever the heck. He's like, yeah, you about to have this baby right now. And I was like, and I'm looking at my boyfriend because I'm watching him watch the doctor text. Like, he's just so nonchalant about everything. I'm freaking out. I have anxiety. He has a bad attitude. So I'm just like, Lord, please don't let this man cuss the doctor out. Then the doctor's going to be like, I don't want to deliver your kid. And then I'm going to be stuck with a baby in between my legs and I got to push her out. So I was just like, just please make this go smoothly. And while all that's happening, like while they're prepping the room and making sure everything's good and they counting my contractions and all this stuff, timing them, I'm listening to my headphones, like music, like Pandora or whatever, because I'm like, you gotta calm down. Like, my heart was racing. Like, I was having a full-blown anxiety attack. I had a full-blown anxiety attack. I started to get nauseous. I was gagging, like, but nothing was coming up. I was just having a really bad anxiety attack. He's talking to me like, calm down, babe. Like, you're doing good. Like, everything's gonna go great. The nurse that's like been there from the beginning, she's like, from the whole, labor part, she was just like, you're doing great, don't worry. Everyone's so supportive in the room and everything. And I'm just like, if y'all two don't shut the fuck up, like, I need to have my anxiety attack, let it go through, like, I have to go through the wave of emotions and then I'll be fine. But because they don't know how to deal with me, they're just like, no, like, we need to calm you down. So I'm pushing every contraction that I have, and then the doctor's like, stops what he's doing, right? Stops his texting and everything. He's like, Jasmine, stop. Everybody just stop. And I was in pain. Like, I'm in the middle of a contraction, like holding my legs up. And then he's like, everybody just stop. Jasmine, open your eyes. Look at me. And I'm looking at him and I'm like hyperventilating. Like, they have the mask on. I had to wear the mask while I was pushing and stuff. But they told me to take it out. They gave me an oxygen mask because I could not breathe. Like, it was intense in there. And he's like, everybody just stop. Legit stop. So everything stops. And he's like, Jasmine, open your eyes. Look at me. And he's like, what is the problem? What are you upset about? He's like, what are you crying for? And then I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna push her out and I'm gonna die. And he's like, why you think you're gonna die? And I was like, because with Ayden, he was my doctor most of my pregnancy. Like, that's who I was seeing. So he already knew my history. Like, he already knew what I was anxious about. He already knew what triggered it. He knew that I was on medication. Like, he just knew my history, so I didn't really have to go into detail with him, which I was very grateful for, because sometimes just because you see them during your pregnancy doesn't necessarily mean that's the doctor that's going to deliver you your baby. You know what I mean? So they don't know your history. They don't know you. Luckily for me, he happened to be the one that was on the rotation for that night. So I got lucky. So he's like, what are you anxious about? We talk about this all the time. You need to relax. And then he's like, you're psyching yourself out. And then he's like, what are you scared of? And I was like, that I'm gonna die and that you're gonna have to suction her out the same way you did Ayden and all this foolishness. And then he's like, can you just push one more time? And I was like, no. He's like, just push. And he's like, do you want me to start singing for you? Because you was calm when you were listening to your music. So should I start singing? So I start laughing. And as I'm laughing, I'm pushing her out. He grabs the baby by her arm because she was already halfway out. So I just freaked out. Like, I just freaked out. I think it was because I could feel it. Like, I felt everything that it made me so anxious. But yeah, he's like, I start laughing because he made the joke or whatever. And then he pulls the baby out by her arm. And then that's how I had my baby. My doctor legit pulled her ass out. But yeah, all labor and delivery stories aren't that intense and they go smoothly. But I will say, all that I just explained to you happened so fast, because at 4 a.m., like I said, this man walked in like, all right, you ready to go? We about to have the baby. I had my baby at 4:19 a.m. So all of that happened in the span of 19 minutes. Like, that's how fast it went. And I just say all that to say, like, it doesn't matter what is going on, like, time is moving, girl, and it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Like, it feels like I was in there for an hour. It felt like a long time. And then finally, the doctor was like, all right, you had your baby. Puts her on my chest and everything. He's like, that wasn't that bad, right? It only took you 19 minutes. And I was like, what? We both looked at each other like, what? Because I can only imagine what he was feeling like, because he was being my support, you know what I mean? And then obviously the doctors and nurses don't count because they do this all day, every day. But me and him, it felt like we were in there for like 2 hours. Well, for me, it felt like 2 hours. And I'm just like, what the heck, yo? 19 minutes, girl. You a champ. Like, you get the gold medal. I don't think I would do it again. And I say that only because, one, I have like my boy and my girl. But both times that I gave birth, they were intense. And I think it's just because I have anxiety and I'm medicated for it. Like, I take medication for it. It makes it much more heightened. What really could be like a 4 to someone else, like, you know, a level 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, someone else's thing would be a 4. For me, it's like a 9 or a 10. And then trying to explain it to other people, like, you're looked at like it's not that serious. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't know. But the only reason why I was skeptical about doing this video is because, one, I really want to like talk about what like cholestasis and stuff like that and how detrimental it is, because before I had Ayden, I had no idea about it. Like, I didn't know anything. And when I was pregnant with Ayden, nobody believed me. Like, oh, you're itchy or whatever. Everyone would make jokes like, oh, it's just dry skin or whatever. And that would really irritate me, because I'm like, yo, like, you're not going crazy. And then there's those memes that's like, you'll Google something and then WebMD tells you you're dying. But WebMD did say that I was dying, you know, like, or my baby could die, so you need to seek professional help or whatever with cholestasis. And when I would explain it to like my family and friends, they would just brush it off like it was nothing. And then both times, again, the first time I listened to everyone around me instead of my doctors. And then, like I said, that's why I got induced so early with Ayden. And then with Avery, I was like, no, you're gonna follow your gut. Like, you're gonna go with your gut. Like, don't listen to nobody. You can tell them what's going on, but who gives a shit what they think? Keep your opinions that way. Yeah, like, I'm just so proud of myself because, like I said, this pregnancy, I didn't take no shit, okay? I spoke up for myself. Like I said, I didn't care what other people thought. People are always making jokes about my weight because I was very, very, very overweight. I just didn't give a shit. So that is basically my pregnancy story, my labor and delivery. Again, now that I have 2 kids and my maternity leave is almost over, I will start back working again. So I can do a video on like balancing a full-time job and 2 kids. That'll be kind of cool for you guys to see, like, a day in my life. Like, so Mondays are gonna be my Mommy Mondays videos. And then I'll probably post another video. I don't know what day in the week or maybe weekend, for like other stuff. So like makeup, hair, fashion, things like that, lifestyle stuff. Those are my thoughts. I don't know. But yeah, let me go wipe this makeup off because your girl's baking. Catch you guys next time. Don't forget, obviously, to follow me on Instagram because I'm more active on Instagram. But also subscribe to my channel. And yeah, Ayden's ruining my videos, so it's time to go.